What makes you the black sheep of your family? Story 1. I told the family we're not Native American. My grandpa's grandmother was from Bavaria, Germany. Our family historian is bad at Ancestry.com and matched records that fit her biases that had the wrong middle name versus the actual records we have of her life. My family made it a big part of their identity. Lots of headdress art, dream catchers, Native American porcelain dolls, and cowboy imagery in everyone's houses. She came over around 1850, which aligns with a period when some Germans viewed Native Americans as foundational as the Greeks. It was prompted because I did 23andMe and found out we are pretty solidly European all around and did my own ancestry tree to figure out where the story came from. When I revealed it, they were like, oh, that just means they don't have enough of the data set to show us. You're lying to cause problems. I was pretty much not spoken to by any of my extended family until my second cousin took her own 23andMe, and it showed she was 5% Native on her dad's side, which was the amount she was supposed to have on her mom. My cousin's side. Story 2. My family on one side shares a toxic belief that no matter how bad someone treats you, family is family, and you continue to associate anyway. My parents on that side were abusive, so as an adult, I chose to not have that parent in my life. At first, I was given the, yeah, they were wrong and treated you horrible, but family speech by a few relatives. But I stayed firm on staying away from this parent. I'm now basically disowned. I guess family is family unless you refuse to deal with your abuser, then you aren't family. Story 3. I'm not afraid to call my family members out when they're being toxic, fat-shaming, judging, pressuring married couples in the family into having children, etc. Coming from an Asian family where women are expected to be submissive and obedient, I'm often regarded as too much and buying into the American way. And I'm okay with that. Better to be too much than continue the generational trauma and be delusional about my perceived happiness down the line. Story 4. Born to Pentecostal preachers, and I don't believe in God. They don't believe in sending girls to college. I am a girl who is the only college graduate in the family. All the boys flunked out of college. I live many states away and don't have to see them. It's great. Story 5. I'm from Southeast Texas, just to set the stage. I am not Christian or religious. I'm actually ethnically Jewish, but our family has been Christian since Martin Luther. I went to college, got an education, and moved across the country to pursue my career. I'm liberal-leaning and fervently anti-Trump MAGA far-right. You get the drift. I got endless amounts of grief from my family growing up and into adulthood, specifically my grandmother, about not going to church. Even the last time I saw her alive, she tried to guilt me by telling me her final wish was that I would let Jesus into my heart. When I moved away to pursue my career, they felt like I was abandoning the family by not staying in our shitty hometown. They tried to tell me that money isn't important and that family is all the riches you need. They talk crap about college education. These people are all very poor, not even blue collar. They're no-collar workers. But I'm the asshole because I made something of myself and moved away. Story 6. My whole family is very religious, with both my parents being pastors and all in STEM fields, while I'm gay and in the law field. They're chill though. Story 7. I'm educated. I have my master's degree. I've lived in all 4 U.S. time zones, including a handful of major U.S. cities, whereas the rest of my family lives in small towns in the South. I'm essentially a vegetarian, currently pescatarian, but I eat seafood once a month. Whereas everyone else in my family is pretty much a carnivore, I'm not Christian religious at all, and I'm politically on the left. My sister is an anti-vaxxer, although she's pretty politically apathetic, and my mom and dad are huge Trumpers. My dad watched Bill O'Reilly and Glenn Beck since the early 2000s. Story 8. I got kicked out of secondary school for weed, spent my teens drinking and doing drugs, got pregnant at 19, and was arrested twice. Yep, I'm definitely the black sheep. Story 9. I'm a hiker, climber, peak bagger, kayaker, hunter, fly fisherman. To everyone else in my family, going outdoors means a golf course. Story 10. Till 2016, I was the only one in the family not salivating at the thought of becoming a U.S. citizen. Most of my family moved to the U.S. from India in the 90s, and some even before that. They weren't poor looking for a better life or anything. They were quite rich and came to the States to run the family business, which had taken off smoothly. So one by one, most of them became U.S. citizens. My parents had the genius idea to have me on Indian soil so I can be born an Indian citizen, and then if I want to switch to the United States in the future, I never did. I always preferred Indian everything, just U.S. money. Most of my family ridiculed me for it for years. Then Trump got elected. I frequently joke about not knowing them when they say they will give up U.S. citizenship and move back to India. Come January, I think they will actually move back and I have to go house hunting for a few months straight. Story 11. I've never owned a home or had a successful career. My half-sister literally said that I used my mom's death when I was 9 as an excuse to not do well in life. I'm mentally ill. Bipolar disorder and PTSD, which same sister denies even though I've had years of therapy and am on meds for it. I'm not religious or Republican or Democrat for that matter. Oh, and I stopped talking to my family in 2013 except for my brother. And we don't talk but a couple times a year. I'm not racist like they are and am pro-LGBT. I'm so proud to not be like them though. Story 12. I broke the cycle of abuse. My father is an abusive narcissist, and I am the only child of 5 of my parents that stood up to him and got the hell out. Haven't spoken to him in over a year and don't plan to ever again. Story 13. I don't really drink or enjoy bars. Every family function revolves around my siblings drinking, and my ex-wife enjoys drinking with them. So as much as we co-parent, I'm definitely not comfortable at family functions when, of course, she will be there with our kids, but it's cheating about all the constant social functions they attend together and the drinking that goes with it with my ex. Just makes me uncomfortable, which then makes me withdraw from the get-together until I can say my goodbyes. They think I'm not social. It's not that, it is just really uncomfortable to me and makes me feel like they like her better than their own sibling son. Story 14. I'm voting blue no matter who. My dad, RIP, trusted Fox News over MSNBC and CNN because the only thing those networks do is say Trump is bad. My mom doesn't trust Kamala Harris because not only is she a woman, she's black. My sister doesn't believe in taxing the rich even though she's working 2 jobs and makes less than I do. My brother is worried about the caravans of illegal immigrants, even though they usually disappear after the elections. My father-in-law is worried Biden and Hochul are going to take away all his guns. My mother-in-law just votes for whomever her husband tells her to. Story 15. Existing, pretty much. But I'm also not Catholic, divorced and remarried, have no kids, moved away for work. My 3 siblings live in the city we grew up in, have esoteric hobbies, and am trans. But I was the black sheep long before any of that except the weird hobbies and interests. I just never fit into my mother's very narrow definition of normal, and that's never been okay in my family. Story 16. Here's what's funny. Most people around here think that they're the only liberal or atheist in a family of conservative, racist, religious bigots. I, on the other hand, am the only churchgoer in my family, and they always suspect that I'm also super conservative, which I'm not. Story 17. I left home after high school, moving hundreds of miles away, and only went back when I felt like it. I have lived my life the way I chose and didn't do anything the way they thought I should have done. My parents are both gone now, and I have very little contact with my siblings. I'm just not that interested in it. My living siblings don't communicate much either. Whatever, I don't care enough to worry about it. My own family is more important to me. Story 18. I left home in my teens and lived in a squat before moving through a variety of temporary locations that were train-spotting levels of squalor, crime, and drugs. Not gonna lie, it was a lot of fun. After a couple of years of that, I settled down, had a couple of kids, but my family have never seen me as anything other than some street scumbag. Story 19. I'm adopted. Also the only one who won't simply let everyone walk all over me because they're blood. I got told that enough, and they never seemed to like me pointing out that they were in fact not my blood relatives. Just people who dropped 36.5K and flew across the country multiple times to convince my bio mom to hand me over. Story 20. Pretty much all the silent generation and baby boomers in my family are all Trump supporters. The younger generations, like millennials and Gen Z, are more left-leaning. I'm an outlier due to the fact I have been in college for too long and don't really work even at my age. My disabilities make it difficult for me to graduate college and work a normal job. Story 21. Most of my family is rural backwoods Christian nationalists. Even if they aren't Christian, they've moved to Christian-adjacent spaces. The same conspiracy theories and hatred of diet soda and seed oils for whatever weird reason. A weirdly concerning obsession with patriotism. I'm sure you've met the type. I'm an atheist who follows the most modern medical and scientific advice. I have to due to severe Crohn's disease and an anxiety disorder. If I listened to my family or followed their anti-doctor advice, I would have died over a decade ago. They look at me weirdly and act like anything scientific I talk about is just another belief like them with Christianity. Story 22. My untreated bipolar disorder led to so many problems, but I won't lie, and I have to take responsibility for other things, like my alcoholism and drug addiction. I consider myself retired at the moment, but it's still a serious problem, and my parents never took care of me, never showed and taught me anything in life, etc. So they are to blame too. All I heard when I was young was, there's no mental health, there's no depression, you're just a lazy bum, get up and work. We are all partially to blame for what happened. Story 23. I liked bright colors in a family of sad beige people. I liked weird music. Basically anything that was not country or Christian. I dyed my hair vivid colors. I was messy and uncoordinated and kind of clumsy. I didn't learn things as fast as my type A older sister, got in more trouble than older sister, though not nearly as much as my peers. And last but not least, I moved away from the family home at the young age of 19. Story 24. I'm the firstborn grandchild, close in age to my youngest uncle. That put me in a weird spot with everyone. They were never treated as a grandchild or a son or a brother or nephew. They never seemed to know what role to put me in. So I became the person just to put blame, frustration, etc. on. So I didn't do anything to become black sheep, just born into it, as they say. Other than mom, sis, and nieces, I haven't bothered with them in almost 7 years now. Sawed them, even then I only humored them until my dad passed. They don't bother me because I only get bothered by things that matter. Story 25. Tattooed, unmarried, though with my partner for 20-ish years. No kids, no debt, and prefer to travel than have a fancy house. The rest of my family think marriage is the most important thing in the world, including a family member who has been divorced 4 times, and think your worth is based on outward appearances, like having a big house, fancy car, and expensive label clothing, even if it means having major debt and absolutely no savings.